Hello and welcome to Velocity Voices. This is our small business spotlight here in Lee Summit. We're going to talk today with Tony Olson, the food vendor extraordinaire. That's what I'm going to call you because you are our restaurateur right now. Tony, you own and have owned several different businesses throughout Lee Summit. Right now, you are the owner of Neighborhood Cafe, which has a location in downtown Lee Summit as well as in Waldo in Kansas City. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And full disclosure, Tony and I both serve on the board of directors for Downtown Lee Summit. So we'll put that out there that we know each other. We know each other pretty well now. Tony, I want to talk a little bit about Neighborhood because you are, as I remember, you're the third or fourth owner of this restaurant that's been in downtown for a long, long time. What drew you to it? Why did you pick it up?
Absolutely. Well, there's just a ton of history, and even goes back farther than that, since the 50s. And so if you ever stop by, you should look on the wall and you'll see all the different family restaurants that it was throughout the years. And we had the opportunity. It was the longest run of any of those was Neighbors Cafe prior to us taking over. And so we started in 2011, and we're fortunate enough to be in a spot where we were able to keep the legacy going. And so we've just been for the last, it's 9 years now. We're coming up on our 10th year.
Wow.
And it's an amazing journey it's been on. But to be able to keep that tradition going and to keep a restaurant that's been such a staple of downtown that we frequented before we ever owned it, it's been a blessing, and we've loved keeping it as a family-owned restaurant.
Now, you're a bit of a serial entrepreneur. You have your hands in a few other things too. When you take over a business like that and you look at it, do you have to fight an urge to change things when you buy a new business? But this, like you said, this one has such tradition and such history. Did you have to fight some urges?
We really just got immersed first in what was working and what people were telling us that they wanted to keep. So we didn't have to do that because it was so established, and because our regulars and the community was telling us stuff right from the beginning. We already kind of knew that. And so it probably would have been harder to change stuff because we would have gotten more feedback from them right away. And so the support that they gave us from day one was absolutely amazing. And so from then on, it's been just listening to our customers, adapting to the times. Change is always going to happen, but we've tried to keep that core community focus always at the heart of what we're doing, and trying to just serve people and connect with them. That's what has been the most fun for us.
Tell me about working in downtown Lee Summit, because like I said, you have two locations of Neighborhood Cafe, one in Waldo, one in Lee Summit. Those are both historic neighborhoods, but they're very different neighborhoods. What is it that kind of stands out to you about downtown Lee Summit?
Well, we absolutely love Lee Summit. My wife's family is from here. I've been here for about 15 years, and there's a small town feel that we just absolutely love. And we get connected with people, even though it's over 100,000 people in the city. It seems like that downtown is a tiny small town. It's got that feel for business, but even when you're all over Lee Summit in the communities, that's been the most fun. We live here in Lee Summit, so we're definitely tied in, and everything that happens kind of centers out of downtown, in downtown Main Street. And so I spend almost all my time down here. I office down here. We're at Bridge Space all the time, doing other business things. The energy, we feed off of that, and the surrounding, even though it's big, it still has that small feel. And Waldo is the same way. I mean, there's a little bit of that small town feel in the middle of the big city, and it's like Lee Summit. I honestly, until we started to open the restaurant there, I didn't realize how similar it was. As far as the community, they really rally around each other. So we've been able to feed on that, but Lee Summit's our hometown, and we keep growing and want to always make sure we're taking care of our community.
Now you said, and I'm going to avoid the obvious for a second here, but you said you've made some changes in the almost 10 years that you've owned it, but you've been careful about it. What are some things that are different with Neighborhood Cafe now? What are some new things that have happened?
Oh, well, we've done the occasional coat of paint, change of colors. Those were very welcomed. I know that we changed the booths. I mean, I know everybody's getting used to those springs in your bottom when you're sitting down. So we had to fix those things. And then the fun stuff was really getting creative with the menu, coming up with cool new dishes like barbecue pulled pork Benedict, um, some really fun
That sounds
melt.
fantastic right now.
And if you haven't had it, you got to try it. So we pushed the envelope a little bit to stay fresh, but also always keeping the traditions. The cinnamon rolls, the quality home cooked food at the center of it. And really, it's still about relationship. It's about people. It's about people coming together in our restaurant for meetings, for family, business connections, and we want to help engage them, whether it's our service staff or whether it's customer to customers. We love fostering that relationship, and that's what brings it all together.
I'm gonna admit this. This is not gonna sound good, but I'm that guy in Lee Summit. I have a hard time not ordering biscuits and gravy when I go to neighborhood. I it just it
We hear
the
that a
the
lot.
the habit is necessary.
Well, if you
But
find something you like, there's nothing wrong with sticking with it,
but
as
I'm gonna
long as
I'm gonna make it a point. I will order the pulled pork Benedict. I'm gonna give
you
that one
tell
a
me what
try.
you think. I love it.
You guys have done some other things though too. You've added a takeout counter. You've really kind of expanded that business a little bit. How did that come about? And that's a big thing to add. I mean, not just the physical and city codes part of it, but just that's a big business addition, I guess, to add to it.
Well, we've seen, and that's where it goes to just the community is changing. Different things are changing. We've got a couple hundred apartment unit complexes coming downtown. We have people that can't wait. They're lining up to buy buildings, to buy houses near downtown, and so there's a whole new market of people that want to stay close, want to carry out all the amazing businesses in downtown that we can provide service for as far as our carry out window. That's something that drove us to really start and push our takeout business that had been strong, but this is a new way to do it, and we really want to be ready for the next phases of what's coming because our city's growing so much. And then on the catering side, we've always done catering, but there's been some really neat opportunities to expand that out and to meet some new needs. And we've talked with Velocity at the pitch about these frontline meals and servicing a need where we can bring people that want to donate and want to take care of frontline workers with providing meals for them. And then we partner with the hospital so we know exactly how they want it, what they want, and when we can deliver it. And so
Well, let's
we're able to
pause.
bring these people together.
Let's pause and dig into that now. I mean, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and go into the current times, right? As we're
Yeah.
dealing with this pandemic. This is something you came up with as a way to help this frontline worker. So describe what that is.
So during this whole shutdown, the essential workers, and people in the hospitals and doctors' offices were amping up their schedules. They're working long hours, and there's so much that they're giving back. And so we started seeing a need, whether it was people requesting to buy meals for people in the hospitals and for these nurses and these people that are out doing that good. And then we saw needs from hospital workers that these people are working longer shifts. They need that little boost. They need that pick me up. And so we were just bringing those people together, and it was a way for us to pivot our business and keep our staff employed and keep everybody going, but really bring two people together and two needs together. And so we end up looking like the really good guy in this situation because we get to bring two people that are so happy to do business, and we just sort of the logistics while we're giving back.
Well, and I don't want to take anything away from the altruistic side of things, and because I know you're doing that for the right reasons, but also from a business side, hey, look, anytime you can market yourself as the hero, right, as doing the right thing, that's great for your business.
Absolutely, and that's something about pivoting during this time that has been something that we've talked with a lot of businesses. And one of my businesses is a referral group, so we're always brainstorming ideas on how we can all work through this together. And one of the biggest things that always comes up is when you're pivoting, we were trying to look at ways that we can pivot that will be lasting past this time. So we want something that can help your business grow and take a step forward to be stronger. So while we're thinking about the service and the good, we're not just trying to spin our wheels and not trying to do something that's a very short-term game or that's not going to last or that is hard to accomplish. So this was a need. This is something that we can keep as part of our business going forward, and it helps up our level of service to the community. and we found a need that we didn't know was as strong as it was. And those frontline workers, the hospitals, they need this all the time. This isn't, this just exposed a need. This didn't create it fully. It just exposed that, man, there's people out there that really work hard to take care of us in the community. So how can we help them?
Does this get your brain kind of thinking too, so that, oh, look, someday we will get past this, right? There is a light at the end of the tunnel. But does your brain get thinking like, hey, how could I keep something like this going? Afterward, is there another group that we can support, another way to keep this kind of partnership alive?
Yeah, there is, and there's a couple we've already found. I mean, just looking at Coldwater in Lee Summit is a great example. They're doing so much, and we've provided to serve their staff and the people that are volunteering. We've provided about 4 or 5 meals. We've partnered up a couple companies that have helped donate meals to them. They're doing things all year round, all the time. There's so many great organizations that give back, that serve, that are not in hospitals, that we can keep continuing to seek out and find those connections. So that's one thing I ask any people viewing this is if you know those that would benefit from this program or that want to get involved and help give back, just to bring those forward and have them contact us to help create that next step and the next need, because there will always be a great need for those kind of people doing service.
Well, and I think what you described there kind of perfectly describes not only the downtown area of kind of people just come together in our community, but I think you see that throughout Lee Summit, and that's kind of one of the good things I think that attracts people like you to buy into businesses and to bring their business here.
I agree. We've seen that through this whole crisis as well. We've seen all the businesses downtown and businesses around Lee Summit step up, and we didn't create this. I mean, this wasn't something we invented of helping out. There's businesses that have been helping out throughout the whole way as well. We probably found one that a way that was able to do it on a little bigger scale once it got rolling, and so we're fortunate to be in that position and be able to scale that. But we see it at every level, from the smallest businesses to even the bigger companies, and I love seeing people step up in time. Instead of getting scared, they're stepping forward and really helping do things.
Let's kind of stay on the pivoting aspect of things, and I've asked a lot of restaurant and bar owners that I know this question. I don't think I've asked it to you yet, but everybody switched to curbside heavy and delivery heavy, right? And it was a way to keep your employees, right? To keep some of those. How did that work out for you? I mean, I I know people were able to maintain some level of business, but was it good enough?
It was. I'll be real honest with that. It wasn't enough. It's not enough to bring back normalcy. Obviously, that's replacing all your business and trying to jam it into one section. We were doing a lot of takeout before, so for us it was more of trying to keep that base, and that was for us that helped where other restaurants who hadn't had that program built, they went to zero, or they went to not very much until they got that rolling. So we were very fortunate to at least have a base to build off of. Um, but it is something that we had been in the process of opening our takeout counter. We hadn't quite got it open yet, so it wasn't up and running, but we were definitely able to pivot very quickly on that because we were down the line. And I see that it's a really good win for a lot of these businesses, and I see it staying around. And the same thing goes for them when they're pivoting. That's a great feature to have, and that's a great service to offer. And so it's going to be great to see that continue with a lot of the restaurants downtown, particularly.
Well, that was my next question. Is that a business unit, the takeout and the deliveries? Is that a business unit that can sustain? I mean, for restaurants that haven't typically done it in the past, is that something they can sustain?
Yeah, I think when you're forced to make that change and you're forced to get creative, sometimes you realize that you could have done it all along, but you just needed that push. And so I think a lot of these people that hadn't tried it just hadn't tried it for many reasons. Maybe they made some excuses, but now that they've done it, I don't see it going away, because once you've got the experience and you've got the traction there, that's going to be a big win for them. So I hope to see a lot of that stick around.
You mentioned that because you'd already started it, that base level kind of helped you make a quicker pivot than maybe some others. Let me put you on the spot here. What's something you learned? What is something you've really learned during this that's going to help you as a business owner as we come out of this?
Um, there are so many different opinions and feelings on this whole situation, and we obviously came off of an election as well. So there's so many political views that are tied to it, and there was, this all kind of extended to our employees, to our customers, to the community, and really it forced me to listen to everybody first, and because we didn't want to alienate people. We didn't want to make people feel uncomfortable. So as we were bringing people back to work, as we were bringing customers in, we really had to open our ears up more than we probably had in the past. And I think that alone is the biggest thing that I would take out of it, is that it helped us possibly connect with our community, with our customers, and then even more importantly with our staff, to be able to listen to their concerns and to do it in the right way where they are bought in on it. And that's probably the biggest change that I'm grateful for too.
Yeah, I think that's a hard lesson for all of us to learn, is to remember that business is personal, right? It's always about the relationships, whether it's with your customers or your staff or your vendors or whatever. And maybe that's something out of this, is that's a reminder.
Yep, we all have a lot in common, and as long as we can have that discussion and just listen, and there's so much that you can find that middle ground, and it's pretty cool.
Well, as we wrap this up, I'm gonna ask you, for this is my hardest question of the entire thing, Tony. What's your
Late on.
favorite menu item at your own restaurant?
Oh, okay. So I eat this way too often to admit now, but the buffalo chicken wrap is probably my favorite thing, and it's hard for me to get off that. Like you and the biscuits and gravy, I can't. It's very hard for me to not order that every time I go grab lunch and pick it up.
I feel like, though, a wrap at least sounds healthier.
Yeah, yeah, you're onto something there.
Well, Tony, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us a little bit. Tell us about your business and about some of the things that you've had going. I
Well,
appreciate
thank
your
you,
time.
Nick, for having me. I appreciate it.